with the latest on the Red Raiders at the big tournament. This is Red Raider Nation's quest for the championship, sponsored by Red Raider Outfitter.
Can't start new traditions without remembering the old ones. Tech Saddle Tramps, making sure that's been taken care of on campus with Will and Soap Suds wrapped in red. Same for the team tonight, all red unis at the Final Four. Happy game day, everybody. Brian Mudd, Eric Kelly alongside. So glad you're watching us on your Next Star Nation affiliate website. If you still are watching at this point, you're probably looking for really good intel about tonight's matchup for the Red Raiders, and we're here to give you all of that. We've made it to the finish line.
Yeah, it's wild, you know. It just seems like just yesterday we were preparing mentally for Gonzaga, and now all of a sudden a Final Four berth on the line, or championship berth on the line, Final Four against Michigan State.
Players have been waiting around all day. How do you think that's been for them?
Yeah, I don't know how it is. Coming from someone who sat on the bench regardless of what time the game's at, you never really know. The other big thing is the second game. Do you want to get it out of the way almost? Right. Play so you're not sitting around watching someone else punch their ticket to the championship game first. I don't know how it messes with people's mentals, but I'm sure Chris Beard probably has them. If I had to guess, Chris Beard, being the coach that he is, has them ready to go regardless of what time they do.
They've been finding distractions for him all day, I bet that's for sure. Right now, let's take a look at today's headlines brought to you by our friends at Red Raider Outfitter in Lubbock. The Wise Guys in Vegas have Tech as a 2 to 3 point underdog in this one, although a lot of experts were picking the Red Raiders straight up in this game I saw earlier today. Virginia, a 5.5 to 6 point favorite in this early game that's going on.
But remember, Elite Eight games, 3 or 4 underdogs won straight up. So necessarily don't have to listen to those Vegas lines.
That's what I'm talking about. Congrats to Tech guard Davide Moretti, given the Elite 90 award by the NCAA for having the top grade point average of all the players at the Final Four. Moretti, a 3.71 GPA, studying human sciences. And as you can imagine, a lot of former Red Raider stars have made their way to Minneapolis for the game tonight. Celebs spotted in the crowd include Tony Battie, Tony Benford, Lance Hughes, Jason Sasser, Keenan Evans, and one Patrick Mahomes, who's been with the team here earlier on today, kind of keeping everybody calmed down.
And we got to, if we're going straight, first of all, straight just on quarterbacks who talked to the team. You got Kirk Cousins talking to Michigan State and Patrick Mahomes talking to Tech, so I think we know who the winner is.
I'll take
already.
my guy, yeah. All right, hey, let's get serious about the matchup now. I think it's safe to say here that Tech does not move on unless they build a wall around Spartan star Cassius Winston. Right?
Yeah, first-team All-American, Big Ten Player of the Year. It goes on and on and on, averaging 19 points. 8 assists per game in the tournament. Winston has willed his team to wins over Bradley, Minnesota, LSU, accounting for points and assists over 50% of the team's offense so far in the tournament. That big win over tourney favorite Duke was the big one, 68-67 to reach the Final Four. Coach Beard impressed by the elements of Winston's game and knows guarding him is a big challenge.
He picks and chooses possessions. He's smart. He plays all those minutes and stays out of foul trouble, but I think he's a very, very good defender well at his position. So we have a lot of respect for all their defensive players. Their team defense speaks for itself. You know, we're going to have to play great offensively to score a basket.
You know, though, I'll tell you this true. The truth of this, though, is Winston, as good as he is probably not the best player on the floor here tonight. That title will belong to Tech sophomore Jarrett Culver.
Yeah, at least at the NBA level, if you're looking at that. He's been Mr. Everything for Tech this season, averaging close to 20 points a game, leading the team in rebounds and assists, just like Winston, which is why he's a second-team AP All-American in his own right, the Big 12 Player of the Year in Michigan State. Coach Tom is on the other side, has also been impressed with what he's seen out of Culver, comparing him to one NBA legend.
I don't know if he's Scottie Pippen-ish like, you know, there's probably better guys early. Just at that era, I watched even more, and I think he's got versatility, and he's a scorer that plays defense, and sometimes those are harder to come by, and that's, I think, what makes him so special.
And that's what makes a lot of NBA scouts think he's special, too. I mean,
possible top 5 pick. I mean, I haven't seen much mock draft since the start of the year that's seen him below top 5 pick.
Watch Lakers and Knicks.
Not bad places to end up, LA and New York.
You can make a name for yourself, that's for sure. Culver with a chance really to propel himself as well to the top of the list of Tech legends tonight, magnified by the fact that he's a local product, graduating from Coronado High School right here in Lubbock.
And our Leah Doherty shows us how family, dedication have driven Culver to heights he never even
Take my talents to Texas State University.
Jarrett Culver signing with the Red Raiders. It was the Jarrett Culver show and company last night.
Culver's a talented young guy. I think he'd be the first to tell you a lot of the credit goes for his teammates.
I just see myself as a good player there in the future and just having a good team and March Madness run. And I mean, I just see myself there as a player.
He's always dreamed about playing in March Madness and going to the Final Four, and now he gets that opportunity.
Long before he even knew the rules of the game, basketball had already found its way to the Lubbock native.
He was small at the time. We took family pictures where he had a basketball in his hand, and I thought that was so funny. Of all the things he could have put in his hand, it was a basketball.
Before competing in the Big 12, Jarrett still saw his fair share of stiff competition. He knew them as his two older brothers.
When we got a basketball goal one Christmas, and they played all day Christmas, all night Christmas night. It was cold, and they just did not want to come in the house. And JJ and Trey would beat Jarrett, and he would be okay, but he wanted to play again. And he's still like that. Like, he wants to play again so that he could be the winner.
A mentality that stuck with Jarrett as he began high school at Coronado.
I just took it one morning. He would come in there at 4:55 in the morning and work out and shoot.
And it wasn't long before his talent was recognized by his fellow classmates.
Most likely to go pro.
Now in the national spotlight, just within reach of a goal, with a team that only 0.7% of people had cutting down the nets.
They're special. Like, this group of guys that are special. Jarrett, all of the boys have played with different teams at different times, but this group of guys, they're so special, and the coaching. Just that combination together with Coach Beard and Coach Adams and all these coaches and what they have done to develop the relationship that they have with the kids, that combination, I don't think anybody can beat us.
It's been a dream come true, and it's just a blessing to see him experience some of the success he's experiencing.
And for those that still see Texas Tech as the underdog,
keep on not picking us, you know. We're going to just keep going and going and going. I love it.
We do too. Leah, thank you so much. If you're looking for the latest Final Four information on Tech and all the teams in Minneapolis this weekend, all you got to do right now is log on to the website for your local Nexstar affiliate station here in Lubbock. That's everythinglubbock.com. Click on the link for the big tournament. All the info leading right up to Monday's final, which we hope includes the good guys there. It's been fun to watch posts from Tech fans making the trip to Minnesota here. A lot of them are talking about how they've waited for something like this to happen their whole life.
Yeah, that's the Tech fan for you, and that means they're ready to party in Minneapolis. And our Wes Rappaport, partying a little bit, working a lot, though, has been along for the ride. Hey, Wes.
Hey, Brian. Hey, Eric. Yeah, it is a lot of fun out here. You can, for the past couple of days, we've been watching and waiting for the fans to trickle in, and today is that day. Now is that time. We are seeing a lot of green and white, but we're seeing a lot of red and black, and fans are making their way inside U.S. Bank Stadium. One of the things that has really become apparent is that folks from near and far are so excited about watching these two teams play here tonight.
Guns up!
These Texas Tech shoes are made for walking. Jan Brewer is wearing them as the Red Raiders play in the Final Four.
And I've had season tickets 40 years. I ain't gonna miss this.
She and her friends drove 18 hours to support their team.
It's a family. Everybody, they're just fantastic. We just love them.
Thomas Hill graduated from Tech in 2007 and now lives in Wisconsin. He and his wife, Jessica, named their baby Raider.
He knows how to do all the cheers, and he likes to watch it with his daddy, so he's a Tech fan too.
Raider will be watching back home with his grandparents while Mom and Dad enjoy the game in Minneapolis.
People are really digging my Cape flag thing.
It's everywhere.
Like yelling at everybody and just guns up, wreck them, all the yelling and screaming. It's awesome.
I've never actually seen a basketball game in a football stadium, so this is pretty overwhelming, the size of it. But yeah, it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be great to see so much red and black.
No matter if it's basketball, football, we're all there supporting each other.
Now, most of the fans that came here to support the Red Raiders tell me that win or lose, they do plan to stay through Monday for the championship game. I tell you what, Mud, it sounds like one of your kids needs a name change. Raider, that sounds pretty good.
Well, and nothing goes with mud. I mean, let's face it. Let's boil that right down there. But let me ask you this, though. They're staying through Monday, regardless of what happens. There's a lot for fans to do down there by the stadium, right? I mean, they've set these things up to where there's a lot of fan experiences and that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, they've got, you know, things kind of spread out here throughout downtown. They've got these different fan experiences. They've got a series of concerts. They've got like a Ferris wheel and fun activities, and local businesses are opening their doors to do fun giveaways and exciting, you know, different things to celebrate the Final Four and the NCAA tournament being here. And so there is a lot to be excited about for fans who are here.
Wes, I gotta know, now that we're getting closer and closer to game time, a lot more of those fans are starting to trickle in. Percentage-wise, from just a guesstimation, what are you looking at percentage-wise when it comes to how much makeup is Tech fans, Michigan State fans, Virginia and Auburn, so on and so forth?
Well, they opened the doors for the public at about 2:30 this afternoon for like the student section and some special seating. The rest of the group was open, public seating open about 3 o'clock. So most of the Auburn and Virginia fans, because their game is first, that was kind of what we were seeing. But even so, at 2:30, 3 o'clock, still seeing dozens of Red Raider fans, dozens of Michigan State Spartan fans coming through to get a lay of the land. They've been waiting to, you know, get their tickets and get on inside, and you know, it's a little chilly, so you know, a nice place to go inside as well, and have something to eat, watch the first game, you know, get situated, and then watch the primetime game tonight.
All right, well, Wes, we'll let you get out of the cold there as well and get something to eat too. Wes Rappaport there in Minneapolis. Thank you, sir. We will talk to you soon. You know, we mentioned some of the past players who have made it to the Final Four this time around to see Tech play. It's hard not to think about this and not think about guys like James Dickey, Corey Carr, Rick Bullock, Andre Emmett, guys who were great but never got this kind of shot.
Yeah, it includes players and coaches. Longtime coach and athletic director Gerald Myers, no different. He's standing by with our David Collier at US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis.
All right, guys, appreciate it. Yeah, it's time for the Red Raiders to play in a national semifinal against Michigan State, joined by former Red Raider basketball player, former head coach, former athletics director, Gerald Myers. Gerald, what you've been through this. You got to watch this team play in the old Coliseum earlier this year, the trip to New York City. What is this like for you?
Well, it's just the greatest experience we've ever had, the greatest success we've ever had on our men's basketball team. It's just a fantastic accomplishment, and to realize you're in the Final Four is just a great feeling. That something, to be honest with you, I didn't know whether we could ever achieve a Final Four appearance and be one of the 4 teams out of like a 320 to make it to the Final Four tournament. And it's just great. It's great for our fans. It's great for our students, for our alumni. It's just doesn't make any difference what sport you're talking about. To be in the Final Four and have a chance to win a national championship is just awesome.
As a former head coach and as a guy that saw Chris Beard develop under Coach Knight during his time as an assistant and his rise at Texas Tech. We know his story. He's been the JUCO guy. He's worked long and hard to get to this point, but it's been a fast rise here in Lubbock to get to this point.
Well, Chris has paid his dues, no question. I think the fact he wanted to be a coach all the way back when he was in junior high school and high school, so he's prepared himself for a long time, and he's prepared well. He spent approximately 7 years with Coach Knight, and Coach Knight's one of the all-time great coaches, if not the greatest, one of the top 3 or 4 greatest coaches of all time. And Chris has said this before publicly, that it was like working on a PhD under Coach Knight every day in practice. And Chris was a great student. I mean, he paid attention to Coach Knight, and he took notes, and I think he took away a lot of good things that he uses today. Of course, he's his own man, and he's applied those same principles and what he learned from Coach Knight to his own personality and the way he coaches and what he wants the team to do. But it was a great experience for him that's paying off for him big time now.
You mentioned working on his PhD, biggest test of his career against Michigan State later tonight here at the US Bank Stadium. What are your thoughts on this Michigan State team and Tom Izzo's bunch? Another tough team just like the Red Raiders.
Well, there are a lot of similarities of the two teams. They are a good defensive team, one of the top defensive teams. I think our defense is the best in the country. if we can make some shots, can break their defense down, and take care of the ball, I think we've got a good chance in the game.
All right, former athletics director, former basketball player, we all know him, Gerald Myers, joining us here at U.S. Bank Stadium. Guys, back to you.
Hey everyone, we are here now with the legend, the Lubbock legend, Don Williams. Don, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Eric. How are you?
I am great now, better now, honestly, talking to you. So, Don, you've been covering, not to try to date you too much, but you've been covering Tech athletics and been covering Lubbock sports for a while. So where do you think this kind of rates on a significant scale for maybe one of the more significant events you've covered or been a part of when it comes to Tech athletics?
Well, it's high up there. I think it's gotten a lot of debate about where it ranks up there. I think the most significant day in Tech athletics actually got to go back to 1956, when the day that Texas Tech was admitted to the Southwest Conference, because if that doesn't happen, then none of the other, or many of the other great Tech athletic achievements don't happen. That day kind of set the foundation in place for everything that's happened since over the last, 60 years or so. I think admission to the Southwest Conference is the most significant, is the biggest day in Tech sports history. Then the Lady Raiders National Championship in '93. And I would say this is behind those two things, and obviously has a chance to kind of move up, depending on what they do Saturday night and potentially Monday.
This has been a popular question in Minneapolis. I'll ask it to you, too. You're around Bob Knight. You've been around Chris Beard. How much of Knight do you see in Beard, kind of with him being his mentor?
Well, I'm sure he took. I'm sure that he took probably a lot from Bob Knight, just because he was there on the bench throughout the Knight era. Bob Knight and Pat Knight both. And I think when you're in all those practices, all those meetings, all those games, I'm sure that he got there were ideas. But as I was talking, there were ideas that he took. But as I was talking to Gerald Myers, kind of about that same question earlier this week, he said he thinks that Chris kind of got some ideas from Bob Knight, but then kind of put his own spin on it and did some things that he wanted to do.
Finally, you've been a Lubbock native for a while now, as I mentioned. You've been in Lubbock for a decent portion of your career, so you know this town. What's going to happen if Tech wins it all? Is the town just going to burst into flames?
I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what that will look like. The only thing I can would compare it to is, like I say, 1993 Lady Raiders won the national championship, and they welcomed them back in Jones Stadium. And I was there that night. They estimated the crowd that night at 40,000 or so. I mean, Jones Stadium there's a ton of folks out there, ton of excitement. And I was curious, I was kind of interested to see if that happens, if they will do that again, because there will be more people that want to go out and see the Red Raiders than will fit in United Supermarkets Arena. And like I say, the Lady Raiders proved that back in '93. And I was not here in 1956 when Tech was admitted to the Southwest Conference, but contemporary accounts from that day talk about how it was citywide celebration and folks celebrating in the streets and big day on campus and those sorts of things. And so I'm sure it's going to be on the same scale.
Don Williams, thank you very much.
Thanks, Eric. Appreciate the invitation to talk.
That was some breaking news there. Don Williams actually not reporting in '56 here when all that happened.
That's the first thing I actually brought up to him afterwards. I'm surprised it wasn't his 30th year on the job. Also breaking news, Don Williams used to have a great mustache. Oh, yeah. That's the other thing we learned.
Sorry, Don, is the only picture I had of you, so you had to go with that. Hey, all right, so we've done this all week long. What have we learned here about this team and preparing for all this? Who is the MVP for Tech tonight to get him to win? We asked a bunch of folks that on Facebook Live.
Yeah.
I want to know
You're going to call it a cop-out, but I'm going to go with two because I think it's a dual responsibility. Matt Mooney, Davide Moretti. Nothing offensively, literally. Those are the guys who have to stop Cassius Winston. If you stop Cassius Winston, you stop Michigan State. So if those two have a great game defensively, like they have had the entire season and the entire tournament, then Texas Tech wins. You have to stop Cassius Winston.
I think Moretti's the MVP tonight, as long as he's hitting threes. I think the team that's hitting more threes wins this. I think both teams pack it in the lane and try to slow everything down and mess things up in the middle. I think whoever's hitting from the perimeter, and I think it's going to be Moretti, is the MVP.
Watch that rebounding battle, too, inside. That'll be huge because Michigan State, one of the best rebounding teams in the nation. Texas Tech really hasn't had an issue, especially size-wise, with that rebounding. We'll see if it sticks here as well.
All right, no doubt this is a business trip for the Red Raiders, we saw. But Coach Beard has talked to this team a lot this week about enjoying the moment.
Yeah, they've been really loose. Coach Beard himself especially, talking to several other coaches this week about how to handle the team's first Final Four trip, and the theme has been to smell the roses.
Coach always tells us smell the roses, enjoy the moment. So, I mean, that's what we've been doing, just enjoying it.
Yeah, he tells us to smell the roses, meaning we worked so hard to get here, have fun while you're in it, but know in the back of your head we got 40 minutes to National Championship Monday. So just having fun in the moment, enjoying every part of it, but knowing that we have a greater goal at hand.
He said smell the roses, so you got to smell the roses, but at the same time we got to figure out how to still be us, you know, so. After everybody leaves out of here, Coach will probably give us, a couple minutes to, sit in here with ourselves and lock in.
We have a process we believe in that includes a lot of things. Our culture, academic piece, basketball, weight room, individuals, shooting, nutrition, fuel the body, study the game in the film room, embrace team practice, get extra shots up, faith, family, balance. This is our process, and one of our processes has always been balance, enjoying life. We never want to be the team that just, doesn't enjoy a victory. But when it's time to play, it's time to play. And when it's time to practice, it's time to practice. So we just got a two-part mission here, smell the roses, but also be us. And be us is just 4 letters and 2 words to mean let's ride the bus that got us here.
Well, and it's time to play. That's all I know.
Exactly.
All right. We hope you enjoy the moment tonight wherever you are. Enjoy the game. We will be here as long as Tech is still playing. If they win, 6:45 tomorrow night right here on your Next Star Texas affiliate website. For Eric Kelly and the cast of thousands, I'm Brian Mudd. Thanks for watching Texas Tech's quest for the championship.
With the latest on the Red Raiders at the big tournament, this is Red Raider Nation's quest for the championship. Sponsored by Red Raider Outfitter.